Joining us now, as promised, is James Carville, legendary Democratic strategist. I'll bring you to the debate.
Okay.
But before I do, your thought, big picture on what they got done there. They raised the money, but they also hit some points with Obama.
Yeah, I think there's something important. They need to interject new information. So people know Trump was convicted of a felony. It's good. It's fair to hit him. It's totally fair. What they don't know is 26 women have credibly accused Trump of sexual improprieties with them. 26. Now, how many jurors were there that found him? So the tendency is, well, I know that, it was this. No. But you did not know that. You also did not. We know the Supreme Court had a Dobbs decision. What the public doesn't know is Trump bragged on it. He says, I was the one that appointed them. So I think in watching the debate, anytime you can get new information in there, then you really hit it. I mean, you can tell people what they already know. That's great. But everybody knows he was convicted. They don't know that 26 different women have come forward. I wish he would bring all 26 of them to the debate, but it's kind of logistically pretty difficult to do.
No, but you're talking about using that to get it into the bloodstream.
Get it into the bloodstream.
And one of the issues these days is people think they know sometimes more than they do because they saw a clip or a headline or something on Facebook that may not even be true. When you look at these debates, this is next week. So people who don't follow this as closely as news viewers, they're going to look up and realize, oh, my God, here's the debate. So I want to mention that for folks. We got the new rules. This is next week. It will be different. No opening statements, 2 minutes to answer each question, red lights visible to the candidate when time expires. And in a big win for the Biden campaign, given that Trump is a rule breaker, the other candidate who's not speaking will be muted when it's not their turn. Now, that, in theory, applies to both of them. But, of course, more practically, having to wait your turn to speak is something that will affect Trump's style of debate, if you want to call it that. There were a lot of interruptions last time.
I'm not going to answer the question.
Why would you answer that
because
question?
The question is, the question
Supreme
is,
Court Justice,
the
radical
question,
left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is
Something he might have wanted to say for a long time. A lot of people wanted to say. That was then speaking to at the time, the president. They did get progress on these rules. Will that matter, or what will matter next week?
Well, if I was a gambler, actually, I am a gambler.
Yeah.
I'd take even money if Trump doesn't show up. Okay, I just think...
You don't think Trump's coming next week?
I mean, I don't know. But if I was, I think he's going to wake up and say and decide... he just like he said he was going to testify in his defense of his trial. He put on a defense. Let him show up. I wouldn't be shocked, but I certainly would not be surprised. If you gave me even money, I'd say he's a no-show. He'll just get up for once. I'm just not going to do it.
You've been around these campaigns. Everything is the way it is until it isn't.
Right.
This commission used to run it, and that was like you had to deal with them. And the Biden campaign basically said they had to go around them to get the terms they wanted. Was that a smart call?
I think so. But if the debate goes off, and if the president does well, and if he interjects this new information into the bloodstream, you're going to say that it's worth it. Now, if the debate goes off and he doesn't do well, then you're going to say it's a mistake. But I was happy. I'm happy that they're doing it. It's unusual. It's June. You usually don't do it. You don't start them until September. But the world was not the same as it used to be. But you just got to adapt to it. But I'm glad they're doing it. And I think he's going to, I think they're going to have good prep. They have good people prepping the president. But I'm still skeptical that Trump shows up.
That's interesting because I haven't heard that point as much. Why do you think Biden and the Democrats feel that getting this going early is so vital?
Well, first of all, this race is stuck. I learned when I worked in Israel, the Hebrew word for stuck is tekuah. Okay? We're stuck. I look at the polling averages. I look where we were. We have all this new information that comes in. It changes. If you search hard enough, you can see some change, but you really got to look. And I think I think the president needs this intervening event. I think he can really, score on the Supreme Court particularly. I think that's an issue we're winning elections on, and you got to drive it home that he is appointing people that don't believe in an inherent right to privacy and don't believe the Supreme Court should operate under ethics enforced gift ban. And he cannot hit that hard enough. You just cannot repeat people. If you don't have a gift ban by the June the 21st, 2025, we're not going to appropriate any money. We're not funding a renegade branch of government that operates under its own rules.
And that, yeah, as you say, that puts, and that's not even a partisan point, although the way the right wing has defended them, it can feel like for some reason they're pro-corruption or pro-gifts. But as you said, you got a salary, you got a pension, and unfortunately these days what you need, you also got security extras there at the court. Great. Why do you need gifts from a Republican donor who has assigned a Hitler book in his house?
A private in the Army operates under some government, a cabinet secretary, the entire everybody in the United States government, including President Biden, has regulations on gifts they can take, and for good reason. Congress is $4 million worth of gifts. Alito goes on a fancy fishing trip on a G5 to Alaska, and he says, well, there was an empty seat on the plane. I was out at Signature Aviation at Dulles. I was kind of hitchhiking, and this guy comes up and says, hey, you need a ride to a fancy fishing lot? All right. And how's a teacher going to tell a third grader you got to fess up and tell the truth if a Supreme Court justice said fess up and tell the truth? That's
fair. Well, it's not all rainbows and sunshine here.
No.
You mentioned to me when you sat down today, you're coming up on the big 8-0.
Yeah.
And we love that. We want you to get 80, 90, 100, and onward. So without ageism, but with reality, you got two older candidates here. So I wanted to get you on this. We've talked about this before. Reagan faced it. These are the two oldest candidates ever. Biden has a new ad actually emphasizing that he and Trump are of a similar age, just 3 years difference. And I will mention, I want everyone to know, we just saw those scenes at the big LA event. I showed you that. The attendees, some of the news coverage were focused on the speeches and what was happening, on the reality of it. But there were partisans who repeated a pattern that we're seeing more often. They take selective or edited clips, usually of Joe Biden, and they try to raise questions or sometimes outright defame him and say he's having maybe a health episode that he's not having. This draws clicks, it draws headlines. Some of the obviously edited videos, though, so misleading that they have drawn fact checks. There was another similar effort to hype a certain video clip from the G7. And I'm going to show you something now, both for James Carville and our viewers, that you don't usually see, which is Fox News having someone on Fox News call out misleading coverage on Fox News. Brand new Howard Kurtz criticizing his company here basically for the misleading coverage of those clips I mentioned, which happened across Fox and the New York Post.
The RNC posted a misleading video titled, "What is Biden Doing?" And that wound up on the cover of the New York Post.
During a parachute demonstration, Biden got dazed and confused. How shocking. And started to just, wander off.
Why would the New York Post, owned by Fox's sister company, or anyone follow the RNC's lead when the president was actually just given the thumbs up to this parachuter?
Well, I've been doing Howie since 92. It's kind of open. And he's actually kind of an honest guy. I mean, he used to cover the media for the Washington Post, and he was a very influential guy. And it's true. I mean, what he said is just undeniable. And you're going to have that kind of stuff. And if Biden's asked about his age during the debate, said, look, the American people sit here and watching 90 minutes of this. They can evaluate this on their own. They don't need me to help them. And they know we're both about the same age, and they can look. And
what about the campaign politics of it? Because you know about ads, you know about repetition, you know about all the campaigns you've worked. The methods have changed, right? We have more tools, internet, but the fundamentals are the same. Repetition works, whether it's true or it's false, unfortunately. And it seems that in this environment, James, we just showed the fact check, and yet as a campaign, Biden's folks have to deal with is apparently more than Trump. Apparently this information mess, which is different again than what I said, which is voters can ask about age, just like they did about Reagan on both candidates. I'm not saying it's out of bounds, but it seems that the polluted video clip environment is worse for Biden.
It is, but let's give credit here. People have corrected this, and I mean, there's a lot out there saying this. But they're not interested in accurate information. If people do that, and I think President Biden just needs to see. Everybody knows they can judge both of us right here. There's 90 minutes. God willing, we'll have 90 more minutes in September. Where I think we owe it to people to stand up here for 90 minutes and do this. And then they can judge themselves. They don't need help from Fox News and the New York Post to make determinations about who's old enough or young enough to serve the United States. I think it's a losing argument. I think complaining in the New York Times about covering age is just a dead loser because everybody knows it, and just deal with it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, that is a kind of a rebuttal you're saying, which is, hey, you got the State of the Union, you got the 90-minute debate, you got a president going around the world doing meetings, so look at the whole picture. You were just saying, James, that you got to give people the new information. There you saw the sandwich. They had the conviction with the other stuff. How much is this the Biden campaign's messaging as a negative, and how much do you also have to move past it?
I would give that A for execution, B for messaging, because I'm not getting anything I didn't know. I didn't know there were 26 women who credibly accused him. I didn't know that the Trump tax cuts are up for expiration in 2025, and President Biden has said we're going to reinstall them on incomes over $400,000. All right. We think we knew that he told the big oil companies that for $1 billion you can write your own plan. But guess what? Not everyone knows that. So I'm just saying I value new information over devastating information that everybody knows. And hopefully we can get some of that during the debate to start a real discussion here, because there are a lot of good issues that are coming up. The tax cuts, the subsidies for health care are coming up. So there's some real opportunity there.
Do you think in the debate next week, then, the conviction is something that Biden leans into and brings up to say, what are we doing here with a felon? Or, again, you kind of got to move past it?
We all know that 12 members of your community found you guilty of 34 different felonies. I'm not here to repeat 34 different felonies. I'm here to tell you.
Right.
I didn't mean to repeat. Did I just say you did find him guilty? I guess I did say that. We did know that you've been found liable for, I don't know, $500 million. But I don't want to dwell in the past. I want to project to the future.
Right. Yeah, damning with a little review.
You got to be a little pivot. You know, you can have a little fun with it, because what you're saying is accurate. And I'm more interested not in your past conviction. I'm interested in what's going to happen to these tax cuts. What are we going to do? And we're talking about a lot of money. I want to put them back on people over $400,000. I want to start a first-time home buyers relief fund, because I can see that people are struggling with high interest rates to buy homes and to feel like they have a future. Just signal to people that you understand what's going on in their life.
Yeah.
And they'll know Trump's convicted.